Have you ever prayed, poured your heart out to Allah, and felt nothing in return? No guidance, no signs, no clarity, just silence. The world keeps moving, people around you seem untouched by your struggles, and your heart feels heavier with each passing day. You might even wonder if Allah has turned away, if your efforts are meaningless, or if you are truly alone. But what if I told you that this silence is not a punishment, not abandonment, and not a mistake? What if I told you that every moment of stillness, every unanswered prayer, every delay, is actually a sacred message from Allah, a sign that something far greater is being prepared for you? In this video, we will uncover 7 profound signs that explain why Allah keeps you in silence, inspired by the timeless wisdom of Ibn Arabi. By the end of this video, you will no longer fear the quiet, no longer doubt the delays, and you will discover that this silence is one of the most powerful tools Allah uses to guide, protect, and elevate your soul. Satu. Allah is separating your soul from noise. When Allah places you in silence, it is not because you are forgotten, but because you are being protected. Ibn Arabi taught that the soul cannot hear divine guidance while it is surrounded by noise, and most of life is noise: people's opinions, constant expectations, endless thinking, and the pressure to react. Allah allows silence to enter your life when He wants to remove these distractions gently, without force. You may notice that conversations feel empty, social spaces feel draining, and even things that once excited you no longer move your heart. This is not detachment from life, it is refinement of the soul. In this phase, Allah is quietly loosening your attachment to what speaks the loudest, so you can begin to hear what speaks the truest. Silence simplifies your inner world. It reduces confusion, weakens external influence, and softens the ego's grip. What feels like isolation is actually alignment. What feels like distance is actually closeness. When everything around you becomes quiet, it is often because Allah is creating an inner space where His guidance can be received without distortion. The soul does not need noise to grow, it needs stillness. And when Allah chooses stillness for you, it means He is preparing you to hear something deeper than words. 2. Your old self is being dissolved. Silence is often uncomfortable because it brings us face to face with the parts of ourselves we usually avoid. And Ibn Arabi teaches that the soul cannot truly rise until the old self, the ego, the habits, the attachments is softened and released. When Allah places you in a period of silence, it is not a punishment, but a divine act of transformation. You may feel restless, as if your thoughts are scattered, or your heart is heavy with unanswered questions. The things that once defined you, your pride, your routines, your reliance on comfort, begin to lose their hold. This is a painful yet necessary process because the old self cannot accompany the soul into higher states of awareness. Every moment of discomfort, every sensation of emptiness, is a sign that Allah is quietly dismantling the layers that block your clarity, patience, and trust. In this silence, you learn that identity is not in possessions, status, or approval, but in connection with the divine. The ego resists this stripping away, but the soul learns to surrender. And in surrender, true freedom emerges. What feels like breaking is actually preparation. What feels like emptiness is actually space being created for divine light and guidance. This quiet reshaping of the self is subtle but profound, and those who endure it will emerge stronger, purer, and closer to the reality of their own soul. Silence is the teacher, and patience is the lesson. 3. Allah is freeing you from dependence. One of the greatest reasons Allah allows silence in your life is to teach you the beauty and necessity of complete reliance on Him alone. Ibn Arabi explains that the soul cannot fully awaken while it leans on external sources for validation, comfort, or direction. During this period of quiet, you may notice that the people you once depended on for guidance seem distant. Opportunities feel delayed, and the answers you sought from the world are no longer coming. This is not a sign of abandonment, it is a divine realignment. Allah is gently severing the attachments that distract you, showing that true support, guidance, and strength come only from Him. It is a time when the ordinary crutches of life, approval, reassurance, and worldly comforts are removed so that the heart begins to learn patience, trust, and surrender. The emptiness may feel intense at first, But this space is fertile, prepared for growth that can only happen when reliance is placed fully on the Creator. Silence, in this sense, becomes a teacher, guiding you to discover that every resource outside Allah is temporary, fragile, and unreliable, while the divine connection is eternal, powerful, and all-encompassing. When you accept this period of quiet, when you stop reaching for worldly lifelines, the soul becomes light, free, and open to receiving the clarity and direction that were hidden before. This is the stage where dependence on others is replaced by trust in Allah's perfect plan, and the heart begins to beat in rhythm with divine wisdom. 4. Allah is teaching you how to listen. One of the most profound reasons Allah allows silence to enter your life is to teach the soul the art of listening, a lesson that many of us never fully grasp. Ibn Arabi emphasizes that speaking and asking are easy for the human soul, but listening, truly listening, is a discipline that requires patience, humility, and inner stillness. Most of our lives are filled with noise, constant chatter, distractions, opinions, and even the relentless dialogue inside our own minds. We pray, we ask, we demand, and yet, in the midst of all this motion, we rarely stop long enough to hear the subtle, transformative signals that Allah is constantly sending. Silence is His method of clearing the space within you, removing the clutter of unnecessary thoughts, external noise, and the endless pursuit of immediate answers. When you experience silence, it may feel uncomfortable at first. Your mind may race with questions, your heart may ache with uncertainty, and you may even feel abandoned. But these sensations are not signs of distance. They are invitations to shift your awareness inward. In this stillness, you are being trained to recognize guidance that does not shout, directions that do not arrive on a schedule, and answers that come not in words, but in shifts of the heart, sudden clarity, and moments of profound realization. Silence forces the soul to become attentive to its own rhythms, to the subtle stirrings of intuition, and to the quiet movements of divine presence that are often drowned out by the noise of life. Ibn Arabi writes that when the soul learns to listen in such a state, it begins to perceive what is essential versus what is superficial, what is eternal versus what is fleeting, and what belongs to Allah versus what belongs merely to the distractions of this world. The lessons of silence teach you to recognize the invisible patterns of life, the unseen doors that open only when patience and observation are combined, and the deep truth that not all guidance comes in the form of immediate, tangible responses. Every unanswered prayer, every delayed desire, every moment when the world seems to stand still, is an opportunity to attune your inner ear to the divine whisper that speaks to the heart before it speaks to the mind. In essence, Allah is showing you that the most powerful communication does not happen through noise, social validation, or external signs, but through the quiet transformation of your own consciousness. By embracing silence, you are learning to align with a higher rhythm, to perceive the unseen, and to respond, not impulsively, but thoughtfully, patiently, and with wisdom that can only emerge from stillness. When the soul masters listening, it begins to recognize divine guidance as it unfolds naturally, without force, without struggle, and without the distraction of worldly interference. What may feel like emptiness or inaction is, in reality, an intensive training in awareness, perception, and inner attunement. Silence, in this way, is not merely a pause in life. It is a sacred classroom where the heart learns to distinguish between fleeting noise and eternal truth, where patience becomes power, and where listening becomes a pathway to profound spiritual awakening. The more you allow yourself to be present in this silence, the more your heart becomes capable of hearing the subtle, guiding whispers of Allah, leading you toward decisions, clarity, and actions that are aligned with your highest destiny. In truth, this is one of the deepest gifts of silence, the ability to hear what cannot be heard by the ears alone, the wisdom to understand what cannot be explained in words, and the readiness to act in accordance with a guidance that only a still and attentive heart can perceive. 5. Something is being written that you are not ready to know. One of the most profound truths about silence as taught by Ibn Arabi and the Sufi tradition, is that when Allah holds you in a period of quiet, He is often working on matters far beyond your understanding, shaping your destiny in ways that cannot yet be revealed. Life, with all its noise, distractions, and constant movement, tends to make the soul restless. It seeks immediate answers, visible signs, and instant gratification. We ask, we plan, we worry, and yet, in the midst of all this, the unseen workings of the divine continue tirelessly. Silence is the environment in which the invisible threads of fate are being woven, a sacred space where the blueprint of your life, the events, the encounters, and the blessings that are to come, are being meticulously arranged. Ibn Arabi reminds us that the soul, in its current state, cannot always bear the knowledge of what is being prepared. If it could, the divine wisdom of timing would be disrupted, and the delicate balance of free will, patience, and spiritual growth could be compromised. This is why Allah withholds certain answers, withholds certain opportunities, and allows moments of uncertainty and stillness to prevail. The silence you experience is not neglect, it is careful orchestration. Every unanswered prayer, every delayed desire, every door that remains closed for now, is part of a larger plan that your heart is not yet ready to comprehend. The human mind wants clarity, immediate gratification, and control. But the divine works according to principles far higher than our perception. Principles that consider your readiness, your spiritual maturity, and your capacity to accept and integrate what is to come. In this way, silence functions as both a shield and a preparation, preventing premature exposure to outcomes that might overwhelm, confuse, or derail you. The period of stillness is an invitation to surrender to the process, to trust the timing, and to recognize that Allah's wisdom is always active, even when no evidence seems apparent. Ibn Arabi emphasizes that the unseen, the hidden, and the delayed are not absent. They are alive, working quietly behind the scenes, and their impact will unfold at the perfect moment. Patience, reflection, and attentiveness during this silent phase cultivate a deep awareness, a readiness to receive what is meant for you, and a profound trust in the divine orchestration of your life. Silence, therefore, is not a void. It is a dynamic state of creation, a sacred workshop where your future, your spiritual growth, and your highest potential are being crafted with precision. Those who endure it, embrace it, and learn to move within it, without panic or despair, will emerge on the other side with clarity, strength, and a profound understanding that every moment of quiet was part of a deliberate, loving, and purposeful design. In essence, this sign teaches that not all answers are meant to come immediately, and not all plans are meant to be seen before their time. Trusting the silence, remaining patient, and staying spiritually alert allows you to witness the unfolding of your destiny exactly as Allah intended, in ways far beyond what the mind can imagine, and in timing perfectly suited to your growth and readiness. This is the hidden wisdom of the quiet moments. What is being written in your life now is a masterpiece in progress, and every second of stillness is preparing you to step into it fully, without resistance, and with a heart aligned to the divine. 6. Allah is pulling you away from the world toward Himself. One of the most subtle, yet transformative reasons for silence in life, as taught by Ibn Arabi and the Sufi masters, is that Allah intentionally pulls the soul away from worldly distractions to draw it closer to the divine. This withdrawal is rarely comfortable because the human heart is accustomed to seeking fulfillment in people, achievements, possessions, and constant external stimulation. When Allah allows silence to settle, you may notice that things which once brought you joy or excitement now feel hollow. Relationships that once seemed central to your happiness may fade, and the pursuits that once commanded your attention may no longer hold meaning. This distancing is not a punishment or abandonment. It is a form of spiritual refinement, a gentle but profound act of guidance. Ibn Arabi emphasizes that the world is full of illusions and attachments that cloud the heart, preventing it from recognizing the subtle movements of divine presence. Silence strips away these layers, creating a space where the soul can perceive and respond to Allah's subtle signals. You may feel loneliness, emptiness, or even confusion, but these are not signs of failure. They are indications that the old attachments, which distracted your heart, are being loosened. In this quiet, you are learning that the true source of peace, contentment, and guidance does not reside in the world but within the divine connection. The process can feel unsettling because the world often offers comfort through noise, activity, and temporary reassurance, whereas silence forces the heart to turn inward, to rely solely on Allah for support, clarity, and strength. Ibn Arabi teaches that this redirection is essential. The closer the soul moves toward the divine, the further it must temporarily separate from what is fleeting and external. The silence you experience is a protective shield, creating space for the heart to expand, to deepen, and to awaken to realities that cannot be grasped amidst distraction. In this stage, patience and surrender become the most powerful tools, because every moment of worldly detachment carries a hidden gift. You begin to notice subtle signs, whispers of guidance, and an inner resonance that was previously drowned out by the demands of the material world. It is here, in the quiet and isolation, that the soul starts to understand that true fulfillment is not found in fleeting attachments but in the deep, abiding presence of Allah. This withdrawal is also a test of trust. When worldly comforts are removed or diminished, the heart is challenged to maintain faith, to stay anchored in spiritual awareness, and to cultivate a relationship with the divine that does not rely on external validation. Ibn Arabi stresses that those who endure this phase with patience and humility emerge profoundly transformed. The detachment from worldly attractions sharpens discernment, strengthens resilience, and aligns the soul with eternal truths. The silence, the absence of external noise, and the feeling of distance from people or circumstances are all deliberate acts of guidance designed to recalibrate your attention and awaken your heart to the reality of the unseen. In essence, what feels like separation from the world is actually an intimate invitation to know Allah more deeply, to trust Him more fully, and to recognize that the soul's true home, fulfillment, and sustenance are not in the fleeting pleasures of the material world, but in the eternal and infinite presence of the divine. When you understand this, the silence ceases to feel like emptiness. It becomes a sanctuary, a sacred space in which your heart is being trained, your awareness is being refined, and your connection with Allah is being strengthened in ways that the noise and busyness of the world could never allow. This is the hidden wisdom behind the seeming loneliness. Allah is redirecting your heart, preparing it to receive His guidance, blessings, and clarity in a state of receptivity and purity that only arises when worldly distractions are removed and the soul is fully present for the divine. The period of quiet is both a cleansing and a preparation, and though it may feel long or challenging, every moment is shaping you to be ready for the next stage of your spiritual journey, where the heart is unshakable, receptive, and attuned to the eternal wisdom that flows only in the presence of Allah. 7. Silence always comes before an opening. The final and perhaps the most profound sign of Allah's silence is that it is never permanent and never random. It always precedes a new opening, a breakthrough, or a divine intervention in your life. Ibn Arabi teaches that the silence of the divine is an intentional, sacred pause, a space in which the soul is being prepared to receive blessings, clarity, and guidance that it could not have understood before. Often, the human heart interprets silence as abandonment, as if Allah has turned away. But the Sufi wisdom reveals a deeper reality. The silence is active, not passive. During this time, the unseen currents of destiny are being arranged with meticulous care. Spiritual lessons are being imparted quietly to your heart, and divine timing is being orchestrated with perfect precision. What may feel like inactivity, emptiness, or stagnation is in fact a dynamic process of preparation. Allah uses this silence to refine the soul, strengthen patience, and cultivate trust. The moments of quiet are an essential prelude to action, for if the soul had been rushed into outcomes without the groundwork of readiness, the the blessings might have been wasted, misused, or misunderstood. Silence creates a fertile ground where readiness, awareness, and spiritual resilience can grow. Ibn Arabi emphasizes that the heart is like a vessel. It must be emptied of attachment, distraction, and dependence on the transient world before it can receive the immense and transformative gifts that Allah has prepared. In this way, every unanswered prayer, every delay, every period of stillness is part of a divine curriculum designed to elevate your soul to a level capable of understanding, receiving, and integrating what is coming. During this time, the ordinary markers of progress may seem absent. Doors appear closed, people are distant, and the world seems unresponsive. But this is deliberate. The divine is creating a space where your focus is undivided, your trust is complete, and your readiness to recognize the hidden blessings is absolute. The openings that follow silence are often profound and unexpected. A solution, an insight, a new path, or a moment of clarity arrives that feels miraculous, precisely because the soul has been prepared in the quiet. Ibn Arabi teaches that the most important work of the divine happens not in the obvious, visible outcomes, but in the hidden processes within the heart, where patience, trust, and surrender are cultivated. Silence is the teacher, and when you embrace it instead of resisting it, the soul develops the wisdom to navigate life with clarity and discernment. What may have seemed like delay, loneliness, or emptiness becomes recognized as the divine's careful preparation for a moment of breakthrough, where the soul's understanding aligns with the unfolding of destiny. Moreover, this sign teaches that divine openings are never random coincidences. They are the result of a deliberate, unseen orchestration, in which every moment of silence contributes to the perfection of timing. The heart, through this period, learns not only to trust but to perceive the subtle signs, patterns, and shifts that indicate that change is imminent. The Sufi tradition emphasizes that openings often appear when the soul has learned the lessons of surrender, humility, and patience. And the divine reveals that all the moments of silence were not wasted, but integral to achieving the outcomes that align with the highest good. The soul emerges from silence prepared, strong, and attuned to recognize guidance that it would have previously overlooked, and capable of acting in alignment with divine will with wisdom, clarity, and confidence. In essence, the seventh sign reassures us that silence is not a void, it is a sacred interval, a space where divine planning, spiritual training, and inner refinement converge to prepare the soul for its next stage. When you endure silence with patience, remain present, and surrender fully to the process, you position yourself to receive what Allah has been quietly arranging all along, a manifestation of mercy, guidance, and blessings that are perfectly timed, perfectly aligned, and capable of transforming your life in ways that mere words could not fully capture. This is the hidden promise of silence. It always precedes a doorway, a shift, or a revelation, and the soul that has learned to wait, trust, and remain attentive will find that the opening that follows is not only unexpected but exquisitely suited to its highest purpose. The lesson of this sign is clear: never despair in silence, for it is the prelude to elevation. Never resist it, for resistance disrupts preparation. Never mistake it for absence, for the divine is always at work in the unseen. Silence is not emptiness, delay is not denial, and waiting is not wasted time. It is the sacred interval in which the soul is being readied to step into a new reality, to receive the guidance it needs, and to witness the unfolding of divine wisdom in ways that are far beyond what the human mind can imagine. Now that you understand these 7 signs, remember this: Allah's silence is never empty, never wasted, and never random. Every moment of stillness, every delay, every unanswered prayer is a sacred opportunity for your heart to grow, your soul to awaken, and your trust in Allah to deepen. Do not rush it. Do not fear it. Embrace it, because when the silence finally breaks, when the unseen doors are opened, you will realize that everything you went through was preparation, divine refinement for the life, clarity, and blessings that await you. Stay patient, stay attentive, and stay connected to Allah, for He is always working in ways you cannot yet see. And remember, The quiet is not your enemy, it is your guide. The delays are not setbacks. They are steps toward elevation. Trust the process, surrender fully, and watch how Allah turns your silence into the most powerful awakening of your life.